Hey, hey, hey. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back for some more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Hopefully today we might finish the final trial of the first game. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. No more to say, really. Let's crack on. So we are now in court after doing a bit more investigation. After the guy whose murder trial we're doing apparently died twice, this time in a police station. In the police station, should I say. So what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, the victim was murdered in two different places at the same time. And the different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana. Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologise. Oh yeah, we got the fingerprint thing. There was a lot of back and forth trying to get to this point. I apologise for yesterday. I was indisposed. I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So how'd it go? This is Mr. Wright suspects. The police are clueless. Yet, they're still going to go within their 3-day gap and make sure someone goes to prison, because that's how this works. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean. Oh, wow. But Lana, don't tell me you. Much to my regret, I'm as much in the dark about this as they are. Miss Sky. We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. Ooh. That's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall. We have to play the cards we're dealt. Oh, we're at this trial now, are we? Yeah, we are. Hi, Toad. Hope you're right, man. Oh no, I broke it. Ah, I fixed it. Sweet. I made a little 3D puzzle on my new printer. I keep playing with it and breaking it. It's pretty cool, though. What do you have to do, Mr. Wright? February 24th, 10 AM, District Court, courtroom number 9. How many courtrooms do they have? They all look exactly the same as well. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor, and the prosecution is... I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. That's not physically possible, is it? He's a smart one, the judge is. What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Wow. This is one messed up trial. One of my duties as a prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In doing so, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. Well, that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things. Even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. We'll just show things and see what happens. And that's supposed to be an admirable trait. Very well, let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? Ooh boy. Things are gonna get wild from the get-go. child. Oh no. Oh no. Please say they've taken off his thing. Will the witness please state his name and occupation? Yes, sir. I am Officer Mike Meeking, sir. This will be a tough trial. But just him being in it is tough enough. My occupation is, that would be murder, sir. What? So you're telling us you're a professional killer? Sir, it was me, sir. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. Oh, so it starts. Right, the plan is to get this guy off the stand as quick as possible. So we never have to deal with this guy again. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You gotta believe me, sir. Oh. Sir, I'm what you would call part of the younger generation. A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend. Please, Mr. Edgelord, sir. Help me, sir. Officer Meekins. Yes, sir. Give us a report of your crime. Consider that an order. Yes, sir, as you wish. After all, I'm part of a generation that must be told what to do. Can't fault him for a lack of enthusiasm. Crime report, sir. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life, then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you? Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir. I see. Then you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness. Yes, sir. He knocked me the upside of the head, sir. Very well. The defence may begin its cross-examination. What I need here is more info to work with, really. My eardrums have disintegrated. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room. So let's ask him why. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you know? Yes, sir. I am in charge of hiring new recruits, sir. Yikes. Now, there's a scary thought. Evidence transfer was taking place on the day of the crime, which means many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir. The Blue Badger? Yes, sir. The lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives. Oh, no. To ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. That was my sole mission for the day. What an exciting man. I see. Sounds like a very important mission. After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. So that's why you went to the evidence room. Tell us, what did you see when you got there? I spotted a suspicious woman. In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct? Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck. So then, your ID number should be listed here, right? Oh, there it is. I found it. The one right there. Could you please read us the number? Yes, sir. It's 4989596. That's my number, sir. I see. But the number is here twice. It's shown as being used twice. Please explain, witness. It's no real mystery, sir. The first time I went is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. The second time is when I went to get him after everything settled down. I see. So it was during that second time when... Yes, sir. When I spotted the man on the security screen. So you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you? It was a knife, sir. A knife. Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you. What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was. You aren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into. That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand. Maybe if you just kept your cool... if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be... When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. What exactly do you mean when you say did it? I know I don't look like the type, but I'm really into Kung Fu films, sir. The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him. You took his knife? I spun round and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man. I see. He must have been desperate. The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood, and then, the next thing I knew, he punched me right in the face, sir. After that, I passed out, until someone smacked me awake. About what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious. Oh, right. According to the report, the officer that woke up the witness was about 5:30. Why is this person after them, who came in at 5:30, not on the pull-up? He hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying tears of pain. That's nice. I mean, it's nice you recovered, that is. When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir. Your mission? Yes, sir. The Blue Badger, sir. I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand. Well, we can all rest easy now. I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened. Yes, Your Honour. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? He's got a point. Yes, Officer Meekins? With regard to that, sir. Take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell. Chief Gant delivered it to me just this morning, sir. The Chief? Delivered? What is that? A videotape? Yes, sir. It's absolutely right, sir. A videotape, sir. It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room.
Objection!
What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased. That's quite a mistake. I just do what I'm told, sir. The only thing I'm really good at. Terrible to police department, like deleting tapes. Well then, let's have a look. Shows the video of you murdering the victim. Oh, please stop using the word murder, sir. It scares me. Video of a real murder. Just what are we getting ourselves into? Why is it there? Why? Why is this animated? This is the worst security camera ever. Lock is open. He's passed out. Ah, and that first one's been stopped. So the guy who died was so the guy who did the attacking was, what's his name? The cowboy dude then. But how did he open two lockers? Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feels stirred within us? What the hell are you... What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood? Sir, that's the pride and joy in the entire Criminal Affairs Department, sir. It's the Blue Badger! Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Scary tape. Yes, well anyway. This tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter somebody. Your Honour, instead of relying clearly on complete footage. The witness's testimony will suffice. Is that right with you, Officer Meekins? Yes, sir. As you wish, sir. The mystery man. His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman. I mean, he opened the locker, which required the Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do so. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, so it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. Why does this mean there was a murder there, though? What's this about a fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing, that would mean. The victim at the crime scene would have had to be Detective Goodman. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with the contradictions. That's where I have to start. Mystery man. His face can't be clearly seen in the video. Tell me, were you able to get a good look at him? The face of the man who attacked you with a knife? Sir, if you must label people as having seen or not seen the man's face, I believed it would be classified as the latter. The latter? But you were standing right in front of him, were you not? More to the point, you were the person who fought him, weren't you? Oh yes, sir, but I didn't get a clear look at his face, sir. I'm not the kind of guy who looks directly at people when talking to them, you see. Yeah, that's a good trait in a police officer. Still, I'm sure it was him. I bet my badge on it. But there's no question, it was Detective Goodman. But you don't know that for sure, do you? You never actually saw his face. Well, I suppose you might say that. That is... Oh, it's the same thing. Why is everyone looking at me? I've had to label your stares as disturbing or... Beacons! Having been shown a questionable video at best, we are not in the best kind of moods. Now please, be more certain when you testify. You claim the man who brandished the knife on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you're positive it was him. So, to do with the locker fingerprint? About these locker, is there no other way to open them? No sir, I tried all the kind of methods in the past. They only respond to registered fingerprints. I wonder what kind of methods he tried. If the man opened the locker's lock, then he must be the person the locker was assigned to. Exactly my point, sir, and this too. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. Maybe I should take a look at the footage. How do you know that information? I've heard rumours, sir, from the people I know, sir. People in the know. The workers in the department cafeteria, they keep me informed. They also listen to my romantic troubles, sir. For the record, the open locker did indeed belong to Detective Goodman. I verified this information through more reliable source. So the victim opened the locker with his own fingerprint. However, the most important detail shown in this video is not shown in this video. The man's face. Sir, if I may say something, please do. After all, you're the one being examined. I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock, and it was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body. My unsettled state can testify enough to this. Yes, you have a point of the footage doesn't lie. That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it. There is a problem, but I just want to check something. Can I fast forward this? Nope, we just have to go through this whole thing again. I want to see if the dude's wearing gloves. Can't tell. So a glove fell out. I don't think he was wearing gloves though. Could the glove have the fingerprint on it, maybe? There's the tussle. That first lock is still closed. He's now passed out. He didn't even... How did he avoid the security camera? But now that lock has been opened and there's something there. Okay. There's definitely a problem. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange. This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. This video contains such a contradiction. Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal. I propose we have the defense. Surely a computerized locker like that would have, like, a readout on when it was opened. We must point us to this alleged contradiction. You'd want me to point it out. Very well, proposal accepted. Let's further inspect this piece of evidence. Thanks for the follow, Lifty. Hope you're doing well. I will now play the security tape. I'm going to save it because I don't know what's going to happen. Hydrate! War is good. It is. Especially when you read it, like your mouth dries out and I just forget. Right, point out the contradiction. You can do it. It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind or pause the video. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing. Please don't play it too many times. I can't stand watching the video. How did this guy ever become a police officer? Now then, please enlighten us. Where's the contradiction? That thing's wrong. Oops. I just kept clicking the locker. No, I don't get it. I didn't realise that's how it works. Don't. There we go. Every time you point the finger, someone gets hurt. Says the one pointing his finger at us. Luckily, I didn't get penalised for that. I'm glad. It just have to go through millions of bit of text. Right, how do I fast forward it? Enter. There we go. There's a glove. There's a ghost. Hi, Dusky. Hope you're right, man. Yes, that is a strange. Something certainly seems unnatural about that. What could it mean? Sorry to interrupt. We seem to have forgotten the point of this exercise. What you look for is one thing and one thing only. Glad you're on this lonely Saturday. Yeah, man. It's just one of them really random Saturdays. But yeah, glad to be on. Do this for a bit. Try not to lose my mind like I did last night. I almost walked right into the defense's trap. Place him under arrest, sir. Rats, I need to slow down and tackle these things one piece at a time. Now what do I do? Right, we're going to play it again. I think we'll point out that locker because someone's opened that. Yep, wicked. Tell us how to, give us an explanation on how to do camera things. I have to hold it, I didn't realise. Let's rewind do. Ooh. Alright, so that don't count. A glove falls out the locker. Fight happens. Right, here we go. That he's gone. Such a trip. Yeah, it's really weird, especially with the model. The thing strange about the video has got to be this. Yes, it does seem strange. Oh. Sorry to interrupt, but you forgot the point of the exercise. What do you want? You were looking for one thing and one thing only. Something that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman. Yeah, so they're opening the other locker. Right. Yeah, good thing no penalty, yeah. I think it's because your first time with a video one. Here we go. So how can we prove it wasn't him then? Right, nothing there, nothing there. Does he have like a badge on him or something? No. Try the light. Okay. But it's green. Take that! It's got to be this. What do you mean, Misa? As you understand, the locker apparatus works like this. I mean, good spot. When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint. If it's a match, the light turns on and the locker is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. So then, something is seriously wrong with this picture. It's already open. Bum bum bum. Why do we need to watch it again? The victim reaches for the handle to open the locker. Let's rewind to a little earlier. Can't do anything. Oh, it is. It's just going backwards. Here, notice the light? What's this? It's already lit! Precisely my point, Your Honour. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Ah! Order! Order! What's the meaning of this? It's very simple, Your Honour. Do Pepe. It's very simple, Your Honour. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. The locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When the door is shut, it's automatically locked. Oh, I know, it must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this. That's not likely, Your Honour. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction. It just goes to show novices. Ah, the glove blocked the mechanism. Your Honour, do you have an explanation? Yes. Why wasn't the locker locked? Because of the glove. Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Maybe something like jam the system. Maybe something like jam the system sensor. Something jam the sensor, say. There's something else that seems to be out of place in this video, which I have already pointed out. It's got to be another clue. We've got to do the footage thing. Oh, luckily it's not a big thing. And skip past that. They really want to shove this blue badger thing in your face, don't they? Get gloved. Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. What's this? Something white fell out the locker. But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are opened. I often fall out and roll. We can't be sure that item was completely inside the locker to begin with. What do you mean? The sensor triggers when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted? We get it. They really wanted to make this fake Sonico thing, didn't they? The white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor. I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in a door when I get out my patrol car. Instead of the door closing, I like the way they just interrupt him. The object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door. Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator, but at the crime scene, there might just be something that fits the description. But sir, by insulator you mean, I think I finally got this figured out. I already had this figured out. Very well, will the defence please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator? Have I caught the glove? I do. An extremely thin rubber glove. No, I didn't want to look at it. I got a little excited. E. I found this near the locker, a thin rubber glove. Well, we can't be sure that that was in the victim's locker. It has a tag that says SL9 incident. Well, it says SL9. You added the incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker. But that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins? Sir, it would appear so, sir. Wait.
Order! Order! Order!
Are we to believe then that the victim, who this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman?
Objection!
Don't be misled, Your Honour. What do you mean, Mr. Edgelord? The defence has merely demonstrated the possibility and nothing more. The victim in this video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Sir, me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir. Is this a joke? Very well, begin your testimony. Mystery Man, number 2. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective has used his card. An ID card record, I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honour. Why is his not filled in? The ID used at 5:14, that is of the victim. Just before the crime, It was without a doubt this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why are there so few people using the room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. After a couple of tries, I'll drop a hint. That's totally fine. Just get to the point where I start losing my mind and then you free me from the pain. There's only a few cases up for transferal here, and most was cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now let us move on to the cross-examination. Mystery bed number 2. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman. So in the evidence room must use their ID card, so anyone can use it. The AA card. Is that is that card hanging from your neck one of these ID cards? Yes, sir. I keep it here so I won't ever forget it. But what if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out in the open like that? Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck when I get out of my car? Well, the remaining time it's my ID card that gets stuck. Instead of the door closing, it gets my ID card. Maybe I should just leave this one alone. At any rate, each police officer has only one ID card. Both the police department and prosecutor's office can assert to this. Please proceed with your testimony. So, let the record be noted that this is the record the witness referred to. Yes, that would be it, Detective Goodman. What's the murder? According to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here. So it is, Your Honour. Oh, it started that chapter. Hey, is that man in blue a murderer? Don't stare at him. You've got the wrong colour. It would seem the inquiry committee will want to speak with you again today. I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or their consequences. For now, let us continue with the cross-examination. Poor Mr. Edgeworth. It must be so difficult for him. Earlier I believed you testified when you asked the man to show his ID card. He pulled a knife on you. You didn't show me his ID card, sir. Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife. Trials and Tribulations, is that... which one's that, the second or third game? Maybe I should... maybe you just panicked. Everything stems from contradictions. Let's point them out. Problem with his ID card is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth to miss something like this. Third, I think. Cool. We'll get there eventually. You're thinking too hard about it. Let's show them what we got. And then after Phoenix Wright, I've been recommended Doken Roper, so I might do that. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman. Yeah, boy. It was between Doken Roper and this, and the Twitter poll said I should do this. So I'll do this, then I'll do Doken Roper. One of the things that proves the man was there's also Hatful Boyfriend, the Christmas version, but I'm waiting until Christmas for that. So one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman. Right. So, do I just point out I have his card? Yeah. Wait, one more moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. Makes sense. When I say crime scene, forgot how much Ace Attorney's music slaps. Yeah, it's great. The music is really good. You're right, Cooper. Hope you're okay. I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honour, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. A lost item report? It's only half completed. But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess, you believe this something is his ID card? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his car. Oh.
Order! Order!
So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Beacons encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card.
Order! Order! Order!
Does the prosecution have a response? I only have one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo. Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 on the day of the crime, where any rise from the ashes got into the anime. Do need to watch this anime. It's been mentioned a few times, but I'm going to wait until I've done this. The man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far? Yes, what's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. That the victim in this video is a fake. The bloopers are golden too. Ah, sweet. Then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is... Well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed contented to be pointing your finger around. This isn't going to end well. Well, seems you finally realised exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defence has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department on 5:15 on the day of the crime. So, the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot. At the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness. Observe the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Uh-oh. Talking of dub bloopers, has anybody ever watched Ghost Stories? You do the light. Yeah, Ghost Stories apparently is really funny. It's an anime where they never got the script for it, so it's basically all bloopers. It's incredible. I knew the testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap! The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine the only murderer to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Yeah, I'd recommend it. It's ridiculous. Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something, or else Lana... What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Always object. Right, I'm back. Hi again, Toad. One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. So now I'm trying to blame it on him again. Yeah, we don't need to... We don't need to see the whole thing. However, it cannot be said that is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defendant demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honour? If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? Police pepper spray syndrome has hit Poland. I'm sorry, Your Honour. The prosecution has considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. Got an America going on. Oh god, no. The world is just falling apart, isn't it? This might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean... Get ready for the tune. The defense would like to request a specific witness. Who did you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then, Miss Wright. This person who you would have testify, what is his or her name? This is where your mind goes foggy. Okay. Why him? I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honour. Court is now in recess. Ah, luckily the weird dude didn't take too long. Unless he comes back. There is no stopping you there, is there, Mr. Wright? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you've all figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. Lana, you're the one who knows everything. You just always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright, he's trying his hardest to protect you. I mean, at least this time the witness is slightly more sane. Yeah, slightly being the prime word. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here? I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, detective. You gotta be better, pal. Hey! I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky. That's okay, so you brought what I asked? Oh. You mean this, right? Why is everyone, like, insane in a way? Apologies. My apologies, detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident? But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might as well read them. Can't believe you, the Chief Prosecutor, were a witness in that case. Miss Sky. A witness? Oh boy. The Joe Dark killings. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murderers. Oh what? Now I've brought you your stuff, you're just going to ignore me? Emma, but why? Why is your name here? What? My name's in here. I don't know, unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident, is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. Joe Dark. No, Lana. That's over with. No. Emma, wait. She ran away. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm at her. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Grant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't just be a coincidence. Knowing you, you might just be able to figure it out. Time to get back out to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. Better take a good look at this file. To be continued. And we'll continue it right now. Bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. I just realised my camera's like... Yeah. There we go. Save my progress. February 24th, 12:14 PM, District Court, Courtroom number 9. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. Officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. I prefer the court section more to the investigations. Oh, 100%. If it was just these, I would love it. The investigations seem to be alright, but then they kind of just start dragging and you've got, like, the clicking on the thing. I like investigations, the music really slaps. You ready for this? Talking of tunes. Witness, please state your name and occupation. He's drinking on the stand. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trials of civilization. I don't know, some of the trying to work out what you got to do on the investigations feels like a slap. Occasionally, helping the elderly cross intersections we need. Yeah, we get it. I can imagine, like already when they've introduced the DS stuff, there's a bit more to it. Oh, I know, you're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind. I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. I keep breaking my cube. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. What a time. Oh, needed that. Just broke my thing. Need to make this a bit stronger, I think. Tell you something, 3D printing is quite a lot of fun. If not extraordinarily loud. Oh, I've definitely broken it now. Have a look. That's 100% of that one. There is a big one, yeah. You're in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is that correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. I'm in Terror looking for a hallowed chest with no luck for half an hour. I've never played Terror properly. I've only played like a very short amount of time of it. It looks good. But then I'm like, I just kind of want to play Minecraft instead. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony on the day of the crime. In plain old English. Day of the crime. My job was to keep a wary eye on the bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street-side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent travelling man, so you got out of ammo, and it's time to hit the trail. He's basically just gone, I am rubbish at my job. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. But if you don't see me complaining... Wait a minute. If Terror fans hear anyone say Terror's 2D Minecraft, they break your kneecaps. Yeah, I have also heard that. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, when I play it, when I have tried to play it, I think I may as well play Minecraft. It does seem cool, though. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you know about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines, or following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. This judge is way too, he is not impartial in any sense of the word. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. My job is to keep a wary eye. I said I was supposed to make rounds. That ain't my style. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. Or his job? How? No wonder he lost his job. No desperados I know joined the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was rubber gloves stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner, can't say I do. Haven't been in that crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired? Exactly. 2 security systems. I think this one's a bit irrelevant. Used to be a detective, so you've used evidence room in the past, correct? Of course, back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about those fingerprint locking mechanisms. Sorry, partner, I ain't good with machines. He's lying. I couldn't even tell how a bike works. Oh, but he's got a locker. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. He had a locker. But he opened a locker. The one with the thing hanging out, right? Because it's his fingerprint. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? If I remember right, I was in a street-side saloon. What are you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat that parlour's Vongol Sipa pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. Oh man, I can kill some tacos. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says, did you not want to raise this year? I'm just an innocent man. Out of ammo, Officer Marshall. That's right, partner. As you call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me on this crime, you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back to the west and to the sunset. One thing that seems clear, despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, and I'm pretty sure at this rate, he would update the autopsy report. Yeah. Think you find he didn't die. The witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone, everyone knows that. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Before I use it though, I better up the ante. Okay, I'm just going to do this. It's the only one I've not done. How exactly do you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even time dies in there, so I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. You interred them. Videos of nothing that aren't useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual was recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it ain't gonna do him any good. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. Right, evidence, what have we got? So there's the jar, which I didn't actually see being broken. And the handprint. Oh wait, I can read this. Incident number SL9 closed. Victims. Head Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth. Witness. Skies. Investigators. Head investigation. Okay. Left in. Is this the one that was? Yeah, this is the one that was on that locker. It's his, wasn't it? No. Yes! Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this. After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. Well, it's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is. I make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what is the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? Your blood was wiped away. However, luminol tests clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? Seems to me there ain't a person in this room with their head on their shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about the fingerprints found at the scene of the crime. Like I said, it's only natural for me to have my fingerprints in the evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. How does he know he was wearing gloves? Wait, no, he wasn't. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Now's my chance to prove it. Then lowering Gunshoe salary into the negatives, yeah. He's actually, like, paying back. He's working to pay back what he owes because of his lost things. Question him on how does he know about the gloves. How did you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Why is they let him with a knife in court? It's a hill that just goes to infinity. Gotta find something that decisive. Like I said, it's only natural. One of them just happens to be the same place. So then, what about the bloody handprint? It wasn't mine, it's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. Ooh. Just so happened. Why is no one questioning him? He just said that he didn't know about the locker. The chances of that happening are a million to none. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are a million to one. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? They're unrelated. Unrelated? They're different as night and day. Kind of like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other's a type of murder. He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. So that stops something. Just do the first one. That's because you put it, pay your respects once a month. Yeah, that's right. And one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. Right. What do you mean? I mean what I said. That locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. That's in there, though now it's just a heap of broken dreams. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from the locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint log all this time without ever knowing it. Okay. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture. The seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. Security tape. So long as my trail isn't there, you can't say otherwise. Ah, here we go. Please consider where you're going with this cross-examination. Now then, continue your testimony. I think you'll find it was. Wait, what? What? Let me use the tape. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime? If so, the video is the only direct evidence you have. That video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone's familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. The epic giant Japanese legal system. Oh yeah.
Objection!
The whole 3 days from the crime happening, someone is arrested. Don't care who, just somebody. We don't have time for your speculations. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence, I can. There we go. That was a roundabout way for me to be like, look at the tape. Video time. Oh, this time I could lose health. Can I go backwards? No, I can't. I have to go all the way through it. So far in Terror, the only thing I found are 2 desert chests. Are the light chests really hard to find? Or are you just really unlucky? Pause it. Pause it. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. There are biome chests in the dungeon and I can't find the hallowed one. Ah, I see. Ah, that sucks. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words, not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was what the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh, the white cloth. It's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then suddenly it appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Oh, wait.
Order! Order!
Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and snuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah, I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker, now prove it. Why am I proving to the witness because he's an idiot? A fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? What's he eating now? Taffy? Only got one word for you. No. Great, I found the chest. Sweet. Was it worth it? Did you get some good loot?
Order! Order! Order!
Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you, this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Ole! Please answer the question. Do you like my trigger?
Order!
I also got the Nonary Games Classic Door Creak. I didn't pick the big boy plant, so I can't unlock it. Oh, brilliant. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can have a look at these floor plans. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? Yeah. Where did you get the order sound effect? It's the ex what's it? Speaker at the House of Commons in the UK. He's like renowned for doing his order. So when I saw this, I was like, it needs to be done.
Order!
You could just Google it. He's got absolutely loads. But yeah, had to keep the door creak. If that's so, then where was the witness? Seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right, the only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? He was the victim. Yeah, you won't miss him. Or just British Parliament in general, yeah. He's the one who tries to control... He was the old one who tried to control the rabble. Officer Marshall was standing right here. There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman. That's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the scene of the crime. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reactions when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. The worst part, I was a British citizen and never heard of him. It's probably for the best, just being part of paying attention to British Parliament madness. Especially right now. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Not British. Oh, where are you from? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. US, nice. But at the moment, it just seems to be on fire over there. As, to be fair, everywhere's on fire at the moment. Just more madness to a wonderful year. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realised the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? He's chewing on... I'm assuming that's meant to be taffy. You've got quite an imagination, partner. We've got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're going to have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. Can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. It looks like leather, yeah. I can't say for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. I can't say much for your beard. You must be getting to like bare bone skin now. Like, just scraping layers off. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. Yeah, I was thinking it's beef jerky, but it is very leathery. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems like you're the one who couldn't take desert heat. Ack, this can't be happening. So obvious he's the one. What can I do? Looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. Basics? Why is he helping me? The emergency pocket bacon. For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise, but rather I should look for evidence about that came about because he was in a disguise. In case of stress in court, chew on emergency pocket jerky. It's like chewing gum, innit? It's like, yep, I'm not bothered. Why do you think the locker was open in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance he might have been discovered later as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defence's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that. He opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Very well. Let's take another look. Ooh, I don't even know what I'm looking at. The witness opened the locker to put away the night cloth. Please show us why the witness did this. Alright, we've got the annoying thing, so nothing there yet. Here he comes. Frame by frame here. So we know the glove's on the floor. Can we see what he's grabbing? Yeah, another just bit of madness. So we can't see what he took out. There's the knife. Bit of back and forth. Should have just hit him with his megaphone. Pushed into the locker. Ooh, he's got blood on his shoulder. Wait, how do I rewind? So there's no blood there. I'm gonna go with the blood on the shoulder. Mickey's could have snapped his eardrums. His eardrums with the megaphone, brilliant. Yeah, to be honest. I entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happens. Officer Meekins barged into you. When asked you to show the ID cards, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled in blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. Maybe he made his ear bleed, yeah. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgelord. 2 years ago. If you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we wouldn't all have to be here now, would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. Alright. Seems the time has come. Marshall's confession. This is a little bit off track. What's this got to do with the other murder? I'm guessing it's because he's involved. I had to do it that day. I couldn't stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him, and I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins, so I knocked him out. I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. I mean, that's obvious. Suppose the victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found in the room on the floor in the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? I guess he cut his hand. My guess is he... Oh, wait, what? Is he's the donor? It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Oh, it's because there was blood in the jar. Why was there blood in the jar? Let's find out more about this case. When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since the case was closed. It was going to be completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I had anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that a case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time, no matter the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of the investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I stole the detective's ID. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I've been arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So it really was why he was filling out the lost time report. Maybe he smashed the pot on Meekin's head. Luckily no concussions due to brain damage. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Marshall. So essentially you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open the locker by yourself. But you could because a rubber glove happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. Unexpected Meekins, so I knocked him out. He pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off. Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins is certainly a 1 in a million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry he had to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? That I'm shaving my face with? I don't know what to say. So you knocked Meekins out and managed to escape. So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live very long, partner. I didn't think I would make a difference though. The security gate was erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you blooded your coat with a struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is on that day, I was shaving my bare muscles with. I'm taking a millimeter off my own skull. There wasn't any murder. Oh, wait. Missed that one. Oh, I've done it again. But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim on the tape is me, and I'm not dead. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. He's been cutting for far too long. Yeah, he's got like Play-Doh. He just like kind of squeezes it out. Wait, Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? Still missing you. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. I mean, you are in court. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offence. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. You can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. First thing it takes was 10-gallon and boom, he shaved his head so much he's Logan Paul level of hairline. Like I said, this isn't your case, this one's mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get the answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. Can't just forget the SO9 incident. You know why? Humour me. That case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crime. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involves serial murders, isn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out. But there's something that still bothers me. Something went down in that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we would wind up it right. Okay. So we're here. So why do we know why? Let's check this. Perpetrator got sentenced to death. There's some victims. Trial data. Head investigating was Bruce Goodman, and investigators Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. Not sure how that's helpful anyway. That's the jar. I mean, I feel like it's this, but I'm not sure. I'm genuine. Well, it is, yeah, but I'm not sure what. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SO9 incident. Sounds like you've been slipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SO9 incident file here. The name Marshall is meant. Oh. It was really. I was overthinking this. It was. Yeah, you were just an investigator on it. In a list of murder victims. Oh! Did I just completely miss that? Yes, I did. Now, instead of searching for the hallowed chest, I'm searching for a Plantera bulb, which only 5 can exist in a small world. Oh, wow. Godspeed. Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago. You received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What, a prosecutor award? You must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right, he was killed. And the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. Oh, hydrate. He was investigating the murders with Damon Grant, then the Deputy Chief of Police. A group of detectives I was part of worked under them. Why do I only find the rare stuff when I don't want to? Because if you look for it, it's just... You're never going to find it, but if you're not bothered, it's just going to appear. Sod's law, innit? We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Oh yeah, he's definitely... Look at him, he's creepy. Definite murder. My brother thought Dark was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least, according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it. Your reason for your insane actions. There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try and hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department that day. That was the last day the SL9 case could have been reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal its evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. It's really nice all finishing each of the sentences now. Officer Meekins confronted him and rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place in the police department that day. The things that happened by chance may never cease to amaze. Exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office. This fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's got to be more than just that. If no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor, Lana Skye. But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. Seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of this Angel Star is completely incontestable. Except the 5-minute gap where she actually didn't watch anything. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Arg! I rest my case. Seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There is no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera tape really was fake. But I didn't realise that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdicts has arrived. The court finds the defendant... Hold it! Your Honour, wait. Emma, the defence has an objection. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean by right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honour, oh God. Please, Your Honour, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. Oh, such a lovely man. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Now that she mentions it, the names of both Skye sisters are in that file. Well, that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. The only thing left was the other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. Did you find something? No. Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Great. Is that all? Please don't be mad, I'm just a high school student, so why has she ran up here? And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regards to the incident, the police department. Does any but reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm so sorry I can't be of more use. But still, you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana or B. Please answer my question, we don't have all day. Yes, Your Honour. If I ever needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with the handprint? Could something be missing? I object! Like, there is no reason not to object, even if I'm not quite sure yet. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at the plans. Something is missing. You mean something that hasn't been drawn on here? Yes, something that when drawn will completely change the meaning of the blood marks. Let's pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Roma, Mr. Wright, with all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. Question is, Blue Badger time! What about that piece of plywood? Because it was in front of the locker. The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not there. So, watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well what? That's right. So as long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at the spot of the locker. Drinking in court. Taking a knife into court. There's many things wrong with this dude. So that means... what exactly does it mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on the locker. Don't look at me like that. Mr. Wright, I think it got through scientifically. On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room. After he put it down, it'd be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean this blood mark was left before the Blue Badger was brought in? Just one moment. I won't allow such far-fetched balderdash in my court. Balderdash! It may sound far-fetched, Your Honour, but it's the only possible explanation. On February the 21st, the police department's evidence room. Blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on the tape. Officer Meekins cut his hand, which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. Is this still the same case from the beginning of the game, or have you moved on? So each... this is a different one. So like each case is its kind of own thing. Oh, I'm glad you're using my YouTube. This is not with the Yakuta one. No. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murderer portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. Now, like, each case is kind of its own thing completely. So you don't have to worry about, like, ruining anything, really. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder, your purport really happened, When did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarise, the defence claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, he was posing as Detective Goodman. Another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There is only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defence please present the evidence? When did the first one take place? The crime took place inside the evidence room when the killer would have had to enter it. In order to do so, an ID card would have been required. And the ID card record. Officer Meekins brought the blue badger panel to the evidence room that, let's see here, 4:50. The crime took place before that time, then it was 4:40. Miles Edgeworth, what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. When was the guy before that with the 7s? A bit before. This is all really close time though, like, it's not even like hours between, it's within 10 minutes, like, this whole thing happened within an hour. Drop the act, witness. Didn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminal test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, it's either Edgelord or the 777 guy. Oh, 100%. Both Officer Meek, the 777 guy, probably isn't that lucky. I hate myself for that. Both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's not physically possible. Right, I found the bulb next to a hive. Sweet. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Edgeworth entered the room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card. 77777777. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? There's no record of his card being used beforehand. He must have entered along with the real murderer. I'm guessing the 777 one is a guest card. He went with 777777. Mr. Edgeworth, please look at this ASAP. Find whose ID number the 77777. Yeah, I like the way he's written as 7. Brilliant. That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, unable to look up the owner of that ID card, at least at present. Explain yourself, son. The ID number 7777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. And you say the 7 times, sound like a bee. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. That's ridiculous. Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted to such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I'd appreciate if you'd keep your slander to yourself. Like, he's done now, because this will get him off the stand. Let me ask a question. No, not to you, to her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number and it's not 77777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I wanted to ask. All I wanted to know is one thing, about the incident. The SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. the trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Ooh, she's understanding, finally. Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. She's going to justify lying. Lana, I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realised it, we were the only ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look at me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why wouldn't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana, even if it involved forging evidence. Silence. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No. Lana's remarks caused a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. To be continued. Ooh, boy. Bum, 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 bum. Forgot how to use a bottle. Ooh, it's getting interesting. February the 24th, 3:12 p.m. Wright & Co. law offices. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. Oh my god, not now. Oh, did it get weird? I didn't know. I never knew the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? Ooh, this is gonna get weird, isn't it? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind him an incriminating piece of evidence. What did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save him. So that means you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. I didn't see that one coming. Well, her name's in the paperwork. It happened 2 years ago, right about this time of the year too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. Seems like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage. Before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture into my mind. I can still see it now. Permanent picture? What did it say at the conclusion? It said that it caused a stir, and now we're doing a... now we're doing another day. So we're not done yet. I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why Lana said she made up the crime. Made up? You mean by provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted the guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes. But I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known. He was given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumours about Edgelord. I mean, it's all my fault. I could have just testified properly. None of this would have happened. So it's true, even though we may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After the case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold, like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in the incident the crime occurred? Dart knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Your Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma, you've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that incident. I tried, but the words just couldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable. It's horrible. You're 14, so you're rubbish. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grow up, I'll become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my own testimonies and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. See, I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about the crime. There's something that's puzzling me. You said you were in Lana's office. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, he was being chased by a prosecutor? Well, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Phoenix Wright partner quota. Thou must be underage. Thou must have a sad backstory on why thou was partners. Yeah. You also must not have parents. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled from my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? I better have another talk with her. Let's go waggle a finger. I don't want to go any of these other places. Lana, Mr. Wright. It seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul, why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might have been found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Emma. Emma told me about you. About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially the unusual change of jobs? Suppose you have the right to know, Mr. Wright. Give me the lowdown. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today. Not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believe that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. That trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said about you stabbing Mr. Goodman. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before. It's true, I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked at the crime scenes. Damon Gant, everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes. Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gun-ho. Ha, pun. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was a serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place, when he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the crime scene was me. Now you tell us. Damon Grant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down and fled the room. From there he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found Emma. So you were the first person to run into the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was finding some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies. Prosecutor Marshall, the victim Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had occurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out the room and just held her. Can't blame her after all her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the incident? That's right, quite a coincidence, I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way anyone involved in this trial was also involved. There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Just by chance. But the case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall, yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brothers died, he changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live with the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yeah, in the office that Damon and Gant and I shared. The office that Gant now occupies himself. The Chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office. The site of the murder. Because it's been 2 years and he definitely wouldn't have, sorted stuff out. Oh, back to here then. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Seems like kind of quiet around here today. You're right, the Chief of Detectives seems the same though. Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to? Right. We can come back here later. Let's see what the Chief of Police is doing now. That man must be the Chief of Detectives. He's staring at the screen so hard it might shatter. What? Dark case may have been fabricated? That's what I thought all along. I've never been bothered to tell everyone. Now there's a guy who cares about his work. What's this guy doing? Must be one of the detectives. He's mumbling to himself. That's it, the villain used the time machine. Very clever indeed. That would have explained the alibi. The future might not be so far away after all. He's writing a novel. Good job, guys. Police department entrance. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Q-Sira Sira. You never know where life's going to lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But Marshall, why did you do it? Why did the prosecutors head west? If ever there was a case, I needed to know the truth about it. That was the one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Something was fishy about the trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the other detectives thought so as well. What do you mean by fishy? Pretty sure cacti can't dry out. Yeah, that's what I would think. But this is also this crazy world, so maybe? Some facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. Oh, you mean that switchblade knife? Was Joe Dark's alright. But in the initial autopsy, a question was raised. The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there is a good chance the knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? Ah, no, she found them both knocked out and killed his brother, so they had a fixed body. Surely. Oh man, she's going to prison. Uptight autopsy report by Lana Sky. The scars in the SL9 incident left behind. Prosecutor's ultimate weapon. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. Are you wearing a carpet? I've never seen. It's a poncho. It's great. Thought I'd sit in. Yeah, it's welcome food. Saturday feelings, innit? I won't leave the house. Poncho time. It's got a hood as well. Won't fit over my headphones. It does have a hood. I just made the detectives when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was your brother? He was 27. He was awarded the highest honour that very day. The highest honour? You mean the... Might get myself one, looks real comfy. Oh yeah, I recommend ponchos. Like, if you just want something to lounge about in, get a poncho. You cannot be sad in a poncho. The King of Prosecutors Award. I knew it. What are you looking for? Looking at me like that for? Oh! Wait, I saw it in the picture. He was stabbed with the award. Oh my god, I just found out I'm playing on the highest difficulty in Tierra. Oh man. Well done then for getting that far. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SO9 incident took place, wasn't that the same day as... That's right, it was the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered and the evidence locker was empty. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew the later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired, I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Sky. No, I didn't need to do that again. We've just done this one. Using master mode to beat bosses. I was using master mode to beat some bosses for better loot and forgot to turn it off. Oh, F. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana had transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah. Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She'd never been the same since she left. Everyone knew her, said so. Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective. Now he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but a secret is too well guarded. I never found out. And a secret. It all started 2 years ago. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict, but someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. So now I'm doing the last wave of the old one's army on Master, which is pain. Ooh. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. Just like that, he's faded off into the wind. I thought we were trying to get upstairs. No one's here, not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into exactly what went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Edgelord isn't here. Right. I thought I'm trying to get upstairs. It's pretty empty. Oh. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did and decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media and tomorrow's trial, there's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually word for those. Sir, would like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Thanks for the thing. Now we're going. February 24th, Police Department Chief's Office. Right. This is going to prove my thing. Where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. Check out the pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Back. Okay. I thought I was a genius. I could never remember where C was. We all know where the Gant theme comes from. Yeah. Speak of the devil. Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, righto. Have you been swimming lately? No, I've been kind of busy. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct. And Lana's provocative statement? Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? Yeah, called it. The sword is the weapon that killed his brother. Fun fact, the Gant theme is called Going Swimming. Oh, fair enough. That's a nice touch. So, Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Nia, took it to the commemorative. Our work together. Something's not right with the picture. Can't seem to put my finger on it. Oh, the face! Ooh. The vase and the vase. No, the vase and the trophy. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh, but this office was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. Because like every bright ginger person, bright orange person we know in today's day and age, he is only telling the truth. Pot when smashed, trophy sword goes flies off into evidence room and die. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. So we're now going to call this guy Gant Trump. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over with you after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around. You mean like a clue? There's got to be a way we can get inside the office. Let's go back up here. Hey pal, Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting?
Just
take it a breather, my feet hurt. From sitting too long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Did you watch the presidential debate? I watched the first one. I haven't watched the new one with the mute thing, but the first one was just insane. Like, I think I was going to bed, and then I sort of turned on TV and it was on. I was like, I've got to watch this. I don't know how the second one went. I've not really looked up at it too much. I just assume more madness. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out the loop. Did you see the fly? No? See, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the fire department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle's between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now, Mr. Edgeworth has been tarred with that. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is guilty pie here, isn't she? A fly landed on the vice president's hair, which stood out because it's so damn white. Oh, it's a Reddit meme. Oh, brilliant. I've got to look at that. That's amazing. I love the internet sometimes. Regardless, a prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they presented in court. Not only that, but as you know, there's been a lot of rumours going around about Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now with this. Are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Not only that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know for making enemies. Hey Dick, keep up the good work. Yes sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime, my treat. Yes sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay Dick? Yes sir. Seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Edgeworth might just crack. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seemed genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find anything? The only evidence Stark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack, you don't mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl? Me. Seems Detective Gumshoe never realised Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. I know more about wind than you. I almost did every achievement left in Terror except 3. Ooh. Are the ones you got to do difficult? I'm really bad for that. I'm all about platinum games. Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forgot. Look, it's all written in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. I've got to do 78 Angler quests, defeat Queen Slime, defeat the Frost Legion. Nice. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman. And you've been doing all that on hard mode as well. Very impressive. I still haven't, like I said, I've only very lightly played it. But you're making me want to play it now. A businessman? A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So it was an accident. An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. Hard mode isn't hard if you had Infinity +1 sword. Fair enough. An animal. He killed like an animal. A kid just walked by just then, so he killed them too. Then there were just bodies. A jogger came upon the scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in. Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. The crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. It was a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. Last witness, aka Emma. Murder weapon, so let's present to him this, because I believe this is the murder weapon. Hey, that's it! That's the King of Prosecutors award that Miss Edgeworth got the other day. We at the award ceremony? Of course, pal. I've got an award for diligence myself. Yeah, congratulations. I was wondering, why is the award a shield? And why is it broken? Oh, there's a reason. I'll tell you what it is later. Apparently he's forgotten. I've worked out what it is. Hey, is that... It has a tag attached to it labelled SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since the case was closed, the knife's been locked away in a locker. On the Detective Goodman was murdered. This suddenly disappeared from the locker. It was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it. Now I remember what piece of incriminating piece of evidence was. You showed me the knife. It all came back to me. Well, what was it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. What stage of terror are you at? Like I said, I'm gonna say 0. Like, I've probably put a total of an hour into the game ever. So, and that was a while ago, so it'd be like completely brand new. My murder weapon. This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at. Plus, it had his fingerprints on it too. But no one actually witnessed him using the murder weapon, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. You could do side series of terror streams like once a weekend. Yeah, I'm planning of doing like other bits around the sort of main visual novel streams. What normally happens is I'm like, oh, I'll try something else today, and then I get really invested in getting the story done that I kind of forget, and then I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. But yeah, I intend to start streaming other things. Like, I'm really into Civ and stuff, and I think doing like a Civ game would be fun. Just do one where I'm an absolute arse. But yeah, I'll add Totera to the list, and I'll try that. Yeah, well, anyway, take a guess where it's broken. Off the tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside of his body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet. Down to the last fibre. That's pretty conclusive. Neil's autopsy report. Stabbed in the back, died from a punctured heart and lung. The knife tip was in the wound. Switchblade knife. Updated. There you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief's out now and his office is locked. We would like to have a look around if that's okay. But didn't they say it didn't fit? It didn't fit in the wound, they said. Like, I think the wound is bigger than the knife. This is why I think it's the sword from the trophy. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What, really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'll be canned. Oh, sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe was our only chance of getting into the office. I wonder if there's something that would make him change his mind. What do we have? Team picture. Nope. About that jar, I think I've seen it somewhere. Or maybe it's one of those memories people have from previous lives. This must be the most uninformative detective I've ever met. To think about it makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm in the chief's office and he's yelling at me. Chief Gann? Where could I have seen that before? In the photo. In this photo. No. Come on, I've worked it out. I wonder if Angel Star is there. Give him a steak, yeah. Here's some. Here, bento. Forgot we got that screwdriver. Does he want to know about? No. Da-da-da. Trophy? No. The Aquarius meme. What's it doing? Making some random noises. Can I spray him with luminol? Will that work? Maybe examine the photo. Yeah. Now I can go around detecting blood traces too. Wow, is that a new type? I've never seen that bottle before. 3 inches to your base and height. Looming tall. New and improved growth formula. You mean it can't detect any blood traces? Well, it's not quite luminol. That's why the lady at the counter had a smirk on her face. He got absolutely wrecked. I can't click on it, but like, I see the thing. I see the issue. Studying the files. Looking into the case. After all, there's a serial killer on the loose. No, he doesn't care about the photo. What do you want, weird man? I'm an attorney. You have to show me every time we meet. Ooh, real men show their police badge. Enough said. I wish I had a badge. Even an ID card would be nice. This guy almost made us lose the case today. What are you talking about? This is every Ace Attorney game. You figured out the obvious twist, but then the game won't let you do anything with it. If you talk to him about everything, go elsewhere. Yeah. Oh, we've done it. Would have saved us a lot of trouble if he hadn't guarded it so well. I'd admit he's right though. Thanks to the Blue Badger, we were able to prove another possibility today. Possibility that another murder took place prior. Yeah, let's try somewhere else. Maybe someone will give me a bento box. Nobody here. Nobody here. Nothing new there. Can I present anything to her? Picky? No. Parking lot? No. No. Prosecutor's office? I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. There he is. He looks like he's writing something. What are you doing here? You sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court? I've had to live the past 2 years with rumours flying around. After I defeated the Frostmoon, Christmas starts. Ooh. What's another allegation to me? Cheer up, Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. Bloody edgelord. So what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. Well, first thing, I want to see what you threw on the floor. Oh, Mr. Wright, let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is standing right there. I'll distract him. Check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground. Hold on. First, let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet. Didn't even look. What? A letter of... If you're having trouble reading it, I'll read it for you. It says, letter of resignation. Resignation? You don't mean... I'm tired, right? I feel as if something inside me is dying. Well, Edgeworth, none of it is your fault. So now I can complete every achievement. Oh, sweet. I know the path I've walked, you don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. No, I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation, I wonder if I can use it for anything. Tuh. I'm going to use that on him in the middle of court or something. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I do can erase the fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean that the evidence was false. You're gonna get a douchette as a prosecutor. The police... Is he gonna join my side and we'll be like crime fighting duo? The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error. My responsibility is the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same no matter what excuse I might have. Mr. Edgelord, I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial, now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. A side game about Edgelord. Amazing. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. But, Edgeworth, you can't just walk out the trial. Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought the case would come back to haunt me like this. There's 2 games. Incredible. The list of evidence, it seems so short. Most lists, and twice as long. It's only half as long. Most lists. What? After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. I only know one that I own. Hold your horses and let me get on eBay. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture? Cool, so we're going to show him the thing and show him the picture. Could you tell us what happened on the day Detective Goodman was murdered? You were at the ceremony? Never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend one. Because you're awarded this. Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up the office in the morning, drove over to the police department. Just odds and ends, clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office. That is until I was asked to take something back. Take what back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. Ooh, he did that just to make something happen. Oh my god, the bunny's dressed in Santa hats. What? That's right. Oh no, I want to show him it. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes, the trophy Mr. Marshall is holding. It's a little different than yours. Ah, finally we're on it. I remember now. That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. Convenient. There's a story behind its design. Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? I found my old as fuck DSi the other day, but I can't find my charger. Oh man, you gotta get a charger for it. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. Guess I'm gonna get more info on that soon. With the smoke this fire, I was so caught up in the smoke I lost sight of the truth. The others are right, I have no right to serve as a prosecutor. Mr. Edgeworth, you were the only doing your job. I've always made my own decisions about what I can or cannot do. That hasn't changed. Forgiving myself is something I cannot do. Uh-oh, I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation, I wonder if I can use it for anything. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd and the second means shield. Have you heard the story? Sure, everyone knows that. Why don't you just tell though, for Emma's sake? Very well. Ooh, story time. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd. he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. His claims contradict each other. Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items would discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. How interesting. Oh, I see, so the chip shield and broken knife symbolized. Precisely so, they symbolized the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words. But it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this. Well, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. If that was so, why were you only given a shield? You'll have to ask Chief Gan. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Interesting. Are we done talking to you? I think we are. I think we know where we need to... Know where we need to go now. Excuse me. Oh, she's back. The bunnies have booties on the head. What am I missing? Oh, right. I'm with you now. Yeah. Sweet. Bow ties? Would either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef? Miss Star, I guess she's out of punches. You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kinda like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. That's a really weird but good point. I don't know how to feel about that. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. It can't all be attributed to mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know, that little scene I happened to witness? The instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past she... Oh my god. He was trapped in the back of the car. She was trying to help him. And the rope that's hanging out the back of the car in the shape of him is the rope that did that. Calling it. One of the bunnies drops a bloody machete. Hey, you never know what you keep behind bow ties. Can't trust anyone. No matter how much you dig up the past, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savoured when eaten. Miss Star's hatred towards Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. Joe Dark, that's the name I'll soon forget. Not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year, till I don't think I was even more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though. He must have been going through hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, them two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Lana Skye, my sister. The best of the best were put on that SL9 case. Of course, they were led by the legendary duo, Lana and Chief Gant. That legendary pair was the reason we're able to keep up our investigation. That's how we were so shocked on how it turned out. You mean with the forging of the evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. The items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. But you don't have proof anything illegal was done. And proof enough of what happened. After the case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties. Most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She's being used. Damien Gant and Lana Skye. Gant led the investigation with Lana second in command. They were the best. They all solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damien Gantz's magnetism in particular was most unreal. His magnetism? By that, I mean his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. Incredible evidence, you mean? Oh yes, there are rumours about him even back then. No one dared confront him though. I take it she's talking about forged evidence. Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All detective wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked and would always watched out for the detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would have ever have recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gantz's powerful influence. Chief. That's right, having solved the SL9 case, his position and chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. What? You mean, that's why Lana was transferred? If he could control the chief prosecutor, he would control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since the case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude. Apparently in her present size, the small she got will have a massive musket. Of course! There must have been a reason for her change, at last. I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Starr. You listen to me, Rocky. You take no more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. Hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Ah, do you get it? Right, to the police department. Oh, you're back. You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ. You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, he means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ. I gotta admire your persistency, but my answer's still no. I'm not letting you in the chief's office, period. Be my neck on the line. The office is still the last crime scene of the Lethalbankai incident. I have to take a look in there. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. So what have we got from our little journey? That. What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way, Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious. Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they've pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was cold as ice too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we just betrayed him. Detective. That's it, I've made up my mind. Here, take my ID. Can't do that. If someone found out, they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I might already be as good as terminated. What? So at least let me do this, for Edgelord's sake. Alright, detective. Thank you. To the office. Here goes Mr. Wright. We're in. Organ time. We're in. If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a corner. If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Ah, Detective Gumshoe. What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking, I was worried something might go wrong. So I came too. If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID? Gumshoe's ID crushed and rendered unusable in his pocket. Hey, don't do that to my card. Did I just break his card? Hardly ever get a chance to come in here, so I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now. You really do want to get fired, don't you? Not if we're lucky. Come on, let's see what we can find out. I've got a bad feeling about this. Right. We've got to talk about the desk on the other side of the room. Was that your sister's? Yep, that's where I was waiting for Lana on that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now? No, sir. It's entirely Chief Gant's office. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. That's a strange reason to leave it there. He leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. He told so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he's pretty intoxicated at the time. So, ever since Lana left, no one ever touches the desk. No one except Gant and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning. Can't possibly be any clues remaining. Yeah, there better be after all of this effort. Can I ask you? You only came here to look around, like, because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes. I mean, you're only coming here for that reason, isn't it? Why do you ask? You don't think, nah, it wouldn't be. No. There's no way, never mind. Don't worry about it. Okay, now then, let's look around. Hey, hold on, not so fast. What is it? Well, someone tells you don't worry about it. It's supposed to stop bothering you, pal. You don't just let it go like that. Sorry, this guy's starting to get on my nerves. So what's bothering you? You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you? What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Yep, I think he did it. So it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best if I don't divulge my feelings yet. There you go, ignoring me again. Let's have a looky. Armour? Real deal. First the pipe organ, now armour. Do you know how many taxpayers' dollars must have gone into this room? You mean we're paying for this? That's it, I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes. You don't have any taxes to pay. Be careful what you say, who knows? The chief might be hiding in the armour as you speak. I don't think he'd fit in there. Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out. Cut it out, you guys don't know how scary that guy can be. A safe? It's like the code needs to be entered. Alright. So we have a chance of a safe. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. Want to try my birthday? It's... Oh, we're zooming in. Oh wait, it's just a load of 7s, isn't it? I'm calling it right now, because that's his ID card. Oh, yes! What a guess! An informed guess, but a guess. What number did you enter? Whose birthday was it? 777. It's the final ID card on the record. The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. Your brain is so big it's pressing against your skull. You mean 7777777? The ID number? I think you're 1 7 shy this time. Can only mean one thing. That's the Chief Gant's ID number. Say, anyone care to look inside? Yeah, get out of my way. Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away? Look, it's a hot side. It's a shard from a broken cup. Somehow looks familiar. There's something else in here too. What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth. It's a handprint. Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the chief made the design? I don't think so. No. Well, that is a thought. Is that it? Is that all that's in the safe? Apparently so. It's empty now. A handprint and a broken shard. 1 of 3 achievements to go. Only 2 incredibly long left to go. Godspeed. But unless you can prove they have something else to do with the case, I'm afraid we can't let him use it. After all, my neck is on the line. Right. I've proved their relevancy. Come on, there's got to be something we can show the detective. Let's have a quick look around there. Big desk. And he's going to hide something away. Do we grab that? I wonder what he was reading. It's a list of evidence. Hey, look at the case name. SL9. Ooh, boy. No. About evidence, nobody there twice as long. That's right, I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. Half-sized list of evidence. List of evidence, it seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. What would be the other half of the list doing here? I knew it! The chief must be hiding something about the case. It appears so. Why would he just have it on his desk like reading it? Oh, we can't. Oh. Is that the drawing she did? Did you find something? I can't make it out. Oh, it's nothing. Why are your eyes moving like that, Mr. Wright? I better not forget about this picture. Yes, the one she drew, wasn't it? What, the organ? It's on the second floor. This is the 15th floor. It's a tiny different building. When the detective screws up, the chief calls him to his office and makes him listen to the organ for hours. What's so bad about that? Music soothes the soul. After that, the detective can't hear anything for days except the ringing in their ears. So it's an instrument of punishment. Wow. He never listens to anyone anyway. That's pretty dark. So we got the picture. Joe Dart ran out the questioning, tried to kill Emma. After receiving his award, Mr. Marshall took a picture here. I bet he never knew he'd be dead a few hours later. Gee, you think? The giant window, it makes you want to crash through it and jump outside. This is the 15th floor, I was just saying. Saying what? Ever since making Detective, I've always dreamed about doing something like that. No, Detective comes true has a lot of dreams. Mostly empty shelves. Hey, this is when Lana and I went to park at the theme park. It's a computer. It's a pretty high-tech computer. Right. Let's mess with this stuff, shall we? We've got... I've got present him stuff? Look. Did you have a look at the jar? Remember when the three of us put that back together? Wasn't a piece of a jar from that case? That's right, one of the shards had SL9 incident sticker on it. Okay, Santa Claus arrived in my terror town, and 2, consider Gant was the only person with Emma and Joe who got bonked, it must be Gant. Yeah. I'm definitely in Team Is Gant. You mean this one was in the safe? Wait, now you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Assemble the fragment. Oh god, not another fragment assembler. Mr. Wright, here's some glue. Here it goes, nothing. Oh, it's just the one piece. Thank God. Got some blood on it. There. It fits like a charm on that course. That, of course, means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of the jar in the safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. Hey guys, get a load of this. The piece you just attached is different from the others. There's a reddish line on it. That's blood. I get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe? What did you expect? You would smash it again to glue the last part back? I don't know. With this game, I do not know. As the Chief was reading before, so Miss Ezra's list was only half full. Take a look at the back of the form. Oh, I've already seen that. Right. This. Let's do the fingerprints. Fingerprints. What are you doing? Why are you sticking your hand like that? Go ahead, take my fingerprints. It's not your fingerprints we want to take. Come on, this isn't time for jokes. Talk about the cloth. Oh, I knew it. The one with the handprint on it? Shh, where do you get your humour? Okay, let's check for prints. Then once they're absorbed into the prince, blow the rest away. Got one. Kind of result won't be any good for matching prints, but it doesn't look like we'll get a clear result. Let's try a different finger. That looks like a good one. Yeah, that's a tasty print, that is. Apparently not tasty enough for the game, but... Who is it? No. Oh, it's her! Technology. How can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Hey, you found a match? Whose are they? Oh, it seems the prints are too old. They aren't a clear enough match. Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'll be darks. Shh. Hey, you over here. What's going on here? What are the kids' prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now. Here, maybe you should hold on to this. Well, was any help? Of course. Thanks to your ID, we were able to get some hard evidence. Now that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if I wasn't this ID card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right, you in the coat? Uh-oh. We are going to die. We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. So I was walking to my meeting. I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog running straight into a pole. Right. Now I have to wander around Ive Caves, mining every crystal shard in existence, hoping it's the queen slime spawner. It's like Plantera. You have to use the crystal spawner. Oh, wow. So you just wait for an RNG drop. Just then I thought of a certain detective. Do you mean me? Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. Oh, you in the coat. Drop off your ID on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore. But sir. Now get out. Yes, sir. RNG is the best way to describe it. We're on our way too. Wait. You, the one without spiky hair. Don't go yet. I'd like a word with you. But sir, I'm not licensed. You with spiky hair. You're free to go. Mr. Wright. Am I just going to leave her? Look, pal. I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking up there like that, didn't you? I thought you said you didn't care if you were fired. Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it. Now we've seen evidence Chief Gamp was hiding in his office. I think I'm finally starting to get a picture. Why has she kept eerily silent about it this whole time? Anyway, you listening to me? I'm going to try to smooch things over with the chief again. Later, pal. After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions. So she'll be busy for the rest of the day. Oh god, she's going to die. Except this time there can be more than 5 in my world at once. Ooh, okay. Hi, Trey. Oh, double down. It's empty. I'm out of water. I'm out. It's gone. Oh, dribble. Trying to kill the streamer. You're gonna drown him. So the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. No use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. But I've already told you all I can. What have you told me over these last couple of days? It's absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said I was the one who stabbed him. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. Mia did a good job of mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. Seems Edgeworth was right. Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term used, I believe. Now my chance is to get her to tell me the rest of the story. I have to admit, I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion, a certain individual, you say. You think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No. I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, who may I ask is the person you're speaking of? The one I'm speaking of is obviously Damon Grant. Oh, Miss Guy? Miss Wright, you are addressing the Chief Prosecutor. Do not forget your place. I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans. Once again, I only get the rarest items at the worst times. I got a megaphone, which is a 1 in 2,500 chance. Wow. Well done. Could you please tell me a little bit more about what you know? We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he is respectable, then tells me something. Why would he try and hide his crimes? Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offences. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command. Jesus Christ, another one dropped. Why does the world hate me? Yes, you, but also another, Damon Gann. If you intend to accuse Gann, you need more than just words. Show me proof. Jar time. I just found this in a safe. It's a jar piece and a piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing the evidence, why didn't he just get rid of them? Why did he risk it? The person concealing the evidence was none other than Chief Gann himself. Now tell me, why are you taking the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. As you surmised, I cannot disobey the Chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder. Go on now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you why. I never thought I would be able to hear jar time in such a dead monotone voice. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate. The murder of Detective Goodman. Perhaps I should say, follow orders. Perhaps it's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. Ah, and she stabbed the... Oh no, because the body was already dead. Despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered the murder weapon while inspecting the body. You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this knife was stuck in it. Ah. The knife from the SL9 incident. Joe Dark's knife. I couldn't just leave that knife in him, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That would be Edgeworth's knife. That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. And that is the reason for the bandage. It seems I got the blood of the victim's shoes as well, and then... Why would she stab a corpse, but how get blood splatters on her coat? Yeah. She saw me just as I plunged the knife in. So I was right where he's already dead. So I was half right, but she did actually stab him. Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? Took a lot of work. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible. So you hid Dark's knife? The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in Joe Dark's case. If word got out, which which it would. The reporters would have a field day with that. Why would she stab a corpse, but then how did she get blood splatters on her coat? Might still be a bit bleeding. Depends how long it's been dead, I guess. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it in Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Right, then I called my sister to tell her what happened and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma? I didn't want anyone on this force to know about this. That would explain why Emma is so confident about Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. Truth is, after I received those orders from Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall. Why on earth would you call him? The lead investigator for the SL9 incident has been murdered. I wanted the fact to be kept hidden, so I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. Or at least I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. If Angel Star didn't see stabbing and Edgeworth just took off his tyres, would be punctured by a broken switchblade. Yeah. Just drives off and runs over the knife. Not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hand. He disguised himself as Goodman, tried to steal the evidence. He had already stolen the ID card, but it seems he hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room. Okay. I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial, there's only one way to drive her off Lana's demons. Completely ignore her, and try and get to the end of this. I like I'm trying to save someone who's like, just stop, please. Can you try to just stop proving my innocence? Detective Goodman's a real murderer. Who is Detective Goodman murderer? And what went down in the Chief's office 2 years ago? To be continued. Bum, 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 bum. And with that, I'm going to call it for today. And we'll be back with the final day of the trial next time. Papa! As always, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my Twitter, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. If you're interested to see when I go live, I always post on Twitter before I do. And Facebook and YouTube, I upload my streams, and eventually at some point I will start doing I'm going to do short of things of everything. But for now, my stream's going up on there so they can be rewatched and you can follow the story at your own pace. Either way, thank you very much and lots of love. I'll see you soon. Wait. Bow ties? Would either of you care for a £1/4 of roast beef? Miss Star, I guess she's out of punches. You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. That's a really weird but good point. I don't know how to feel about that. Wait. Bow ties? Would either of you care for a £1/4 of roast beef? Miss Star, I guess she's out of punches. You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. That's a really weird but good point. I don't know how to feel about that. Wait.